what we have is a relational disconnect too, to where we've only seen people on TV or read about them in story, and so I think we've got to create on-ramps into those friendships and those relationships. One of the ways that we can do that is through really good study, but I think also a way that we can do that is by creating subversive friendships, where I was just with a group of Muslims that in California, it's called American Muslim Voice, and what they've come around to is that we fear what we don't know, people we don't know, what's unfamiliar. And so their whole campaign has been from fear to friendship. And so they have Muslim families that are they have an open table and an open home to folks that are not Muslim, to get to know each other. And so I really think that's the kind of friendships we need, and it's what Jesus was doing. I think that being a Christian, to me, it doesn't mean I got to get wishy-washy and say, all religions are one tree with many branches. I think that what happened in Jesus is like the pinnacle of history, and yet that makes me a really good collaborator with folks that don't share my faith. It makes me interested in friendships with people who aren't Christian. And I think that it's embarrassing that a lot of times Christians have been the worst collaborators in the world. We've started with, if you don't agree with me, then what do we have in common? What a shame. So I think one of the biggest obstacles to Christ sometimes has been Christians who have a whole lot to say with our mouths, but we have very little to show of God's love, with our lives.
Need more subversive friendships. It makes me think of Jesus' Good Samaritan story, where the story kind of ends up with this man who comes inquiring, what must I do to inherit eternal life? Jesus has this man affirming that, the Samaritan who loved the hurting person was fulfilling God's will, but by definition, a Samaritan could not please God. It was another tribe, another religion, if you will. And Jesus drags this example out as, this is where salvation's at work. Yeah,
it's an amazing story, and it's scandalous because all the rich people pass by, or all the religious people pass by. And a friend of mine says, if the devil can't steal your soul, then he'll just keep you busy with church work. So I think maybe they were on their way to some kind of meeting or trustee meeting or worship or whatever. I don't know, but whatever it was, it's a beautiful thing. Jesus' stories where a Samaritan is moved by compassion by the pain of someone else, and that's in the end that's the real litmus test for our faith is how does it move us in compassion and love to the most vulnerable, beat up person on the side of the road. And so I like how Joan Chittister said Jesus consistently challenges the chosen and includes the excluded. And so it's a beautiful thing.
That is beautiful, but it's sobering for the chosen. How am I supposed to think about myself in that mix?